Joining us is analyst and author Markus Mainzer from the organization Tax Justice Network. Mr. Mainzer, first of all, your reaction. I guess you weren't surprised about the news yesterday. You've written all about this sort of stuff. What was your reaction, though?
I was astonished at the amount of data and the extent of criminal energy that has come to light through this leak. The scale is simply outrageous and enormous, which we haven't seen before.
OK, so this is unprecedented. Do you think that alone will help in the case against tax avoidance? Many governments have been battling this for years unsuccessfully.
I think we need a more sustained effort now after these leaks to really carry forward through structural transparency reforms, which for the last years we have seen failing time and time again. This is not new stuff in its essence. In Offshore Leaks 2013, we have seen similar cases brought to light, and now is the time to really bring home to politicians the message that they now need to listen far more carefully to civil society, what to do about that, and no longer to pretend that they know it all and they tackle it, because it's not true.
And they put this challenge at the top of their agendas in so many cases, governments right around the world. But what is the number one that they need to do you think?
We need public registers of the true owners of companies and corporations and trusts to be placed on public record around the world. And the European Union is about to start that through its money laundering directive, which will come into force next year in Germany. Germany is about to implement this law, but the danger is at the moment that the Ministry of Finance falls short of that vital public transparency and seeks to limit this transparency to only legitimate interests, which is a very wobbly term and will make it very difficult indeed to this data to become accessible to the public.
Is it that easy, though, just to set up a public registry? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of resistance to something like that. Why not a private registry, for example?
We have a registry that is publicly announced already in Great Britain and the Netherlands. The Netherlands has carried out a study about the feasibility and the costs of a private versus a public registry. And they have concluded that it's far more cost efficient and far less bureaucratic to make this data public instead of regulating and legislating a very slippery term, the legitimate interest term. So they have concluded it's cheaper and it's better, it's more effective to do it public.
Why hasn't it happened until now?
I think the vested interests are very strong, and there is a strong resistance against the notion of public transparency in Germany. We have still a notion of the German state to be trusted, like inherited from Prussia, where the government is sort of a half-god that we trust, but we don't really are used in Germany, so at least in finance matters, in tax matters, in money matters, to let the public have a look at what is going on.
Germans love the moral high ground, though, taking the moral high ground. You'd think this would be something that they'd have pushed for a long time, but I guess when big business is involved and politics, things get a little tricky.
We have very much involvement by law firms and the finance industry and tax advising companies in the lawmaking process. We can virtually say that the laws are written in tax matters oftentimes by those lobbyists, as is the case for most captured states that are captured by the offshore industry. That's why Germany is not so different nowadays from those that we point fingers to now at Panama and the British Virgin Islands.
Exactly, something you pointed out in your book, that Germany is a tax haven itself, a tax paradise even, you went so far as to say. Is that going to change soon, just briefly?
We need far more determined action in that matter, and we don't see yet the signs that convince me that we see a reform process here happening. This leak hopefully will help.
Mr. Mainzer, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.